Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar presented by American Senior Benefits, a nationally recognized insurance marketing organization with proven track records of success. Today, we are fortunate to be joined by Lynn Godfrey, the National Recruiting Director, and some of her associates will be joining us as well, and they're going to highlight the exciting opportunities available with American Senior Benefits.
Thank you so much, Beth, and thank you all for joining us here today. I wish I knew this earlier. ASB has a hybrid insurance sales organization that combines the best of both worlds, the captive and the independent world. And we're in our 21st year of successive growth, and you're going to get to see that graph. It's pretty impressive. We partnered with Integrity in 2019, and that's been pretty exciting for us as well. Most of those who have failed out of this industry might have done better if they hadn't started with an inferior structure, and I really believe that what we have here at American Senior Benefits is the best. You can work really hard and still struggle if the model is off, and this is about what actually changes outcomes, and you're going to hear from three superstars today, and they'll be able to talk about that. And what I'm sharing, I know, would have certainly accelerated things for me as well. The consistency over 2 decades tells you this isn't luck, it's design. 20 years of growth. It hasn't just grown in some years, it grew in every year, and it works in every market cycle. I've spoken with agents who get laid off after AEP. We don't have that. We're busy after AEP. The longevity of the success is the proof of the concept. Over 225 carriers, higher payouts, greater prospecting, innovative prospecting at that, and ownership is a model that works for our clients, for ASB, and for our field partners. Most agents that I talk to who are looking for a new gig are playing defense, and they're a little frustrated about that. They're not building as much as they're reacting. Limited carriers means they have to force a solution, and some feel bad about that. Lead dependency, they don't feel like they can control. They want to work harder, but they don't know how. They don't know what to do. And burnout is a structural problem, not a personal weakness. We shop with our clients, not get shopped by them. And that makes all the world of a difference for us when we're sitting down. Structure changes everything. The difference isn't effort here. It is the structure. It is something that has succeeded 21 years in a row. When you have options, you solve instead of sell, and we have the products. Imagine that. Better solutions means better persistency. It means fewer chargebacks. It means more stability for your income. It means our partners in the field are confident when they go out to meet with new clients. So the built-in advantage here, and I know we're going to talk about this, is relationships. We have prospects. We don't start from zero. We're starting from a place of trust. We have great relationships and endorsements from the American Legion, the Elks, the AMVETS. It's a warm audience. They actually send out direct mail pieces to their membership suggesting that they sit down with a member of American Senior Benefits to review their plans and coverages. Imagine what that would do to your business and your appointment book. No geographical boundaries. Can you imagine that? No geographical boundaries. You are now free to move about the cabin if that's what you want to do. If you live in Indianapolis and your Grams lives in Florida, have at it. Go down there and work with all of our friends. So that's a fun thing here. Most agents earn income. Here, you build an asset. We have the payouts and the proprietorship, and when you onboard with ASB, you name your beneficiary. Imagine that. You're signing down who's going to get your renewals. So here we have that. We have all of those good things, and we can get down into the details of that, but long-term income overrides our leverage. The ownership stays with you. And this is the difference between working hard at something and building something that you own. So to prove that this isn't theory, I have 3 of the industry's finest individuals with me today, and their stories are all super exciting. We have 3 different people from 3 different backgrounds. Beth Moss came over from a captive B2B insurance gig, and she's going to talk to us about what she's done. We've got Jeff Lambden, who was a manager at a captive insurance gig. He's going to tell you about how ASB has changed his life. And we also have Christy Larson, who was in corporate America and decided to just switch gears and jump in with 2 feet, and she's been highly successful. Beth, can you tell us where you are and what you're doing and how ASB has changed your life?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I've been here 7 years, and prior to here, it always felt like no matter how hard I worked, I was just spinning my wheels, just trying to always play catch up. I always had the magic number in my head. For whatever reason, I just wanted to make $100,000, which everywhere around me, everyone was doing that and doing way more. So that was always my number. And I was with Aflac for better part of 8 years, and I never even came close. And every single day I went to work, I did what I was supposed to do. I followed every guideline that I was supposed to do to be successful. I was chosen as number one accounts and number one this and number one that, and got all these speaking opportunities. And I kept thinking, how could they think I'm so successful when I've told them like I am struggling? But there was never support ever. There was never any way to climb the ladder successfully. And it just was very frustrating. So fast forward, an old manager of mine had seeked me out and said, you would be perfect for ASB. This is exactly where you belong. And I thought, ugh, again, no, I just can't start over again with the promise of this is going to be different. And you've heard it so many times that it's hard to believe. But I said, you know what? I'll give it a shot. And from day one, I felt the difference. And I'm proud to say 7 years in, I would be quite disappointed if I was ever making $100,000 in a year. And more than the money, because the financial opportunity is so real here and it's so attainable. It's just the confidence that working under ASB gives you and all the tools to be successful and to really run and create a business of how to keep climbing higher and higher. And when you feel like, wow, I've arrived, I've maxed out as much as I can do, someone will talk in your ear and say, no, this is just the beginning. You could now build a team and you could grow in a different direction. And that's what the last 3 years have done for me, with building a team and trying to teach my team everything I know, and watching them grow and succeed is also super exciting. So I just see better and better things, and I couldn't say enough good things. I would never ever look back. 7 years, and I don't ever plan to stop. So I'm super happy.
Thank you so much.
Great opportunity for anyone.
Thank you. And if you can't tell, Beth is located in New York. So if you're interested in talking to Beth, she's in New York. Next, we have Jeff Lambden. Jeff is in the middle of the country. He was a manager at a captive agency, and he came over just a few years ago to American Senior Benefits, and he's really lit the world on fire, and we are so happy to have him. Jeff, for you, just tell me a little bit about how it's changed, what in your day-to-day, and how it's impacted your family.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Lynn. When I started in the industry, I was so young and hadn't really had any professional experience. I was roughly 24 years old when I got into the industry. I have a small accent. I'm originally from Western Kentucky. I actually started in the industry up in Detroit with the captive organization and spent some time there as an agent, had a lot of success, moved into a leadership role, and then an opportunity opened in the greater Cincinnati area to become a branch manager. And my wife and I took it. And so we moved to Cincinnati, which is where I'm located now, back at the end of 2009. And we had spent, I guess I had been in that role about 15 years. And I had 2 straight years of just 20+% growth. But something was missing. And even my wife had mentioned it to me. She said, you just don't seem happy, even though you're having that success. And I said, something's missing. And, Lynn, I know you remember this, but it was a LinkedIn message that you sent me. And all you said was, hey, how's everything going? I haven't talked to you in a while. And that's what started the conversation. And 22 years with the captive space, I walked away in April of 24. So I've been with ASB now just over 2 years. I really enjoyed my time in the captive space, great relationships, but I wanted more. I wasn't sure what that meant. And after talking to Greg and some of the Jim here at ASB, I wanted more for the clients. I wanted more for my family. I wanted more for my business. And it's been an absolute game changer. When Beth spoke about for some reason, when we get into this industry, that six-figure income is always, that's what people talk about. And I start thinking about, because I agree with her, money is obviously not everything, but money also is what we have to earn to be able to pay our bills. And I was looking at stuff just a couple of days ago, and in the first 16 weeks here this year, I've been able to accomplish in the first 16 weeks what I did my best year in the captive space in 22 years. And I shared that with my wife, and to be able to help my kids more and help people in my community more, it's never about status. It's always about freedoms and options and choices. And I can just imagine some of the people on this call, that's probably what they're thinking is, it's not about just having the money, but it's about what I can do with the money for my own family and for the people around me and be able to do good for the community. It's been an absolute life-changing experience. And I know it sounds cliche, but I wish I'd have done this 10 years ago.
Yep. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. And now
Absolutely.
we have Christy Larson. We had Christy jump over from corporate America, just embrace the insurance world, and with ASB. Christy, tell us your experience with American Senior Benefits and how it's impacted you and your family.
Lynn, thank you. And thank you to the other panelists for this honor today. Back in 2017, I was a single parent by choice with an adopted child, newborn, in corporate America, working probably easily 70 to 90 hours a week. I did not feel like the mother of the year at that point. Had to find something that fit our lifestyle a little bit more, did some market research, and stumbled across American Senior Benefits through some friends. When we talk about creating legacies for our clients, that's what American Senior Benefits did for me and what they're doing today. They're helping me create a legacy for my daughter. I spent 23 years in the corporate world working, being an industry leader, winning trips, speaking engagements, things like that, but never felt like it was enough. And with American Senior Benefits, it's as if they opened up the doors and welcomed me with arms, saying, come on, let us show you what true potential looks like. We'll show you how to climb higher than you ever thought. And then we're going to teach you how to climb even higher. I would say within the first 2 years of being with American Senior Benefits, I surpassed the $100,000 mark, which in corporate America, that was a pinnacle. Here, it's just a starting point. And over the last 9 years, it has just blossomed into this beautiful creature that my clients, they need me and I need them. And it's just a great sense of community coming to them, just help solve their issues, but also building the legacy for my daughter where she will hopefully one day be able to take over and walk into a business that's ready for her.
I've seen her with her little purse and her suit. She's adorable. Thank you so much, Christy. So
Thank
you want to deal with Christy's in South Carolina, North Carolina? Where are you?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Yep. So ASB really does change lives. It's not theory. It's happening right now. Here they are. Real people, real results, different backgrounds, same model. If you are open-minded, this platform can change everything. We're a hybrid organization with products, prospects, payouts, proprietorship/ownership. ASB's value proposition is built on delivering unmatched customer-centric solutions, leveraging innovative tech, and maintaining a relentless commitment to people. If you're interested to hear about how ASB will power your progress and be your gateway to growth, you can call me or any one of them.
There are a lot of IMO and FMO options. What makes ASB structurally different? Jeff, you want to take that one?
Sure. No, I think that's a great question. Just right off the top, I'd say a massive difference in in what we're doing here at ASB is a lot of the IMO FMOs that I see are very one product line focused. A lot of them are very Medicare focused. Not all of them, but a lot. And at ASB, we're more of a comprehensive retirement planning company. We say we handle everything from health to wealth. And what I mean by that would be Medicare needs, ancillary product lines, life insurance, the retirement income space. And I know it's been mentioned a few times, but the biggest thing I think that sets us apart is that four-prong value prop. The over 250 carriers, our agents don't lose at the kitchen table. Some of the highest comp opportunity in the industry, with the ability to level up, the ability to own your own agency. Maybe you're a mid-level manager and your goal is to own your own agency and become one of those regional managers, but it's just not available where you're at right now. The third would be exclusive partnerships. When we talk about getting in front of people and having lead sources rather than just smiling and dialing, we use our affinity department through to work with organizations exclusively like the American Legion and the AMVETS and the Elks and the Eagles. And then last being ownership, short vesting schedules. I've heard of numerous managers here at ASB that have sold their book of business back to Integrity, which is I believe is the largest IMO in the country, for millions of dollars. And when Len mentioned that beneficiary, I was shocked that the first thing I had to do was name my beneficiary. And I just remember saying, I'm not buying anything yet. And they said, no, we need to know where to send the renewals if something happens to you. And I was just shocked by that. And so that would be the biggest thing I think that makes us structurally different than most IMOs and FMOs out there.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Someone wants to know what kind of agents really thrive under your model versus struggling. Christy, why don't you take that one?
Oh, goodness. I would say any agent can thrive and strive in this model, but it definitely takes an individual with a strong will to succeed. And what I mean by that is, with anything that you put your sights toward and you want to achieve greatness, you have to have the discipline to go with it. And with that being said, I treated this position like a corporate position where I came into work at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and I finished my evening at 8, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening. And I treated it as a full-time job. But the difference is that I work for myself. I'm paying myself finally what I'm worth. And corporate America never paid me what I was worth. My intelligence surpassed what I was paid. ASB sees the insight to that, and they are rewarding us greatly. And so anyone can do this. Is it easy? No. If it was, everyone would want to do it. But if you have the tenacity to build your dream and live your life free of worry from corporate layoffs, corporate stress, corporate overhead, then this is the direction you want to proceed.
That's great. Thank you. Someone wants to know, you talked about how many carriers you have. You'll have 225 plus carriers that you can work with. How does that change the conversation when you're sitting down with a client, Christy? How does that work with that?
I think Jeff said it best when he mentioned having 225 national carriers at our fingertips and being the end all be all in a household. Number one, at ASB, we do what's right for the client, not what's right for the agent or what's right for ASB. It's what's right for the client. When I'm sitting down and I'm doing a cost analysis or a healthcare consultation, we use the tools at hand to have very genuine conversations about what the client's needs are, how they will benefit them, and how they will move forward. And when you start to pull that data together to provide a solution, it is imperative you have 225 because you narrow that funnel down to find the right solutions for that individual circumstance. And our clients love that because they don't see a sales agent at the table. They see a person that comes with a whole heart and an open heart to find what's right for them.
And as a follow-up for that, do you ever feel overwhelmed with that many options? And if so, how do you simplify that?
Absolutely not. When an agent first starts, we usually recommend starting with 3 to 5 different carriers. As their experience grows, so does their portfolio in providing solutions. Now, if that agent only has 3 to 5 carriers and that may not be the right solution, we have a tremendous back source standing behind us with a history of hundreds of years of experience if you add it all together. So when you're having these conversations with your upper management or other agents, you're able to see, okay, maybe this solution might not be best and I need to go in this direction. If anything, it exemplifies the phenomenal benefits we bring to the table when we bring that much power behind us. An individual carrier cannot provide that. So therefore, the client understands very quickly it's not what's in their best interest. They need that complete resource and that complete book of business of intellect to solidify a house solution.
Perfect. Let's see. You guys mentioned that there are fewer chargebacks with ASB. Beth, could you tell me what drives that factor?
Definitely relationships. So when I'm working with my clients, they feel my sincerity when I'm working with them. And I leave the table letting them know I do not work for one particular carrier. My allegiance is to my client, not to the companies. So if anything happens throughout the year, whether it be solicitations from other carriers or another agent catching their eye at CVS or Walgreens or wherever they wind up seeing someone, they know, put me in their phone as Beth, Medicare, everything, not just one carrier, and call me whenever it is. They always do. And it's very sad and it makes me sound like a little full of myself. But when I look down and I see a chargeback, I'm like, oh no, they must have died. Because honestly, the only way they really leave me is when they die. And then that's forgivable. I forgive if they die and they left me. But other than that, there should be no reason you get chargebacks. Not here with all the different selections we have and the relationship building that we do.
All right, perfect. Going along with that, how do you get that referral momentum going? How long does that typically take for a new agent to build it, and how do they get that going?
I present myself, I do a seminar, and then I get contact sheets for people coming to me, filling out, like, I'd like to meet with you. I really do need help. And I think you solidify yourself when you're doing the presentations and when you're meeting with your client for the very first time. I never ask for a referral, ever, never. However, they just come. It's crazy to think that's really the truth. I never ask. I do the right thing for the client. I build a relationship with the client and I naturally get their friends and family. And it's just, I used to think, wow, this must be a coincidence or this must be a fluke. But 3 years into this of constantly getting referrals can't be a fluke. It's just the way of our business.
I love that. That's perfect. Okay, we mentioned partnerships. So how do the partnerships with organizations like American Legion or AMVETS, how do those translate into real appointments? Christy?
Oh, goodness. Number one, it's always easier to work with someone who is seeking you out. And when you have these type of relationships where ASB has presented us to these organizations as trusted resources, it lowers that defense of, is she trying to sell me something or is she trying to serve me? These local organizations are filled with our national treasures, such as our military and our retired military. We've worked very closely with the military across the country. And it's just remarkable to sit with that warm referral that is looking for your assistance after they've served us for so long. So those type of relationships are necessary in, number one, giving back to the community for a community that gave so much to us.
Perfect. I love that. Okay, let's see what else. So, Jeff, we're going to do this one for you. Are agents still cold calling, or is there a better way for them to get in front of people?
Oh, wow. Way better way to get in front of people than cold calling. Currently, so just to give you an idea, so obviously I'm located here in Cincinnati, as I indicated, but we also have I have a team up in Michigan. I have a team down in Florida as well. So different markets, but getting in front of people is always the number one concern of people that are in sales. And we've mentioned a few of these things. The affinity groups has been a game changer for us, but the biggest thing, and Beth mentioned it, is all three of our teams utilize seminar marketing. We have a seminar marketing strategy that myself and my leadership team talked about last year. We implemented it. We've been doing it for probably about 8 months. And it's gotten to the point now where I would say 75-80% of all of our business is coming from our seminars. And then I know Beth mentioned the referrals. When you do a really good job for folks, it's a natural outcome of the sales process is that they want you to talk to others. Here's the last thing I'll talk about that as far as cold calling. That was a big eye opener for me after 22 years working captive. The number of people in my inner circle and outside of work, like friends, family, colleagues, that sort of thing, so many more of those folks wanted to talk to me about doing business with me once I didn't only represent one company. And so I asked a couple of them, I said, I talked to you about this a few times, and it was always just never a good time. And I had a gentleman tell me, he said, yeah, but whenever I talked to you this last time, you talked about the number of options, and it just felt like you weren't trying to just push your product on me anymore. And I thought, wow, because at the time I wouldn't have guessed that. So when it comes to cold calling, if agents are cold calling, that's because they want to. I definitely don't recommend it, but I guess you could.
I like that. Jeff, I'm going to throw this one at you too. A lot of companies talk about ownership. What does that mean at American Senior Benefits?
It's definitely different because I know the captive space talks about ownership a lot, which is ironic to me because that's the one place you don't have any ownership. I know that because I spent 22 years doing it, and when I left, I didn't own anything. So it the captive space. It's hard to own anything because of the long vesting schedule. Here at ASB, it doesn't matter if you're the newest agent or you've been here the longest or you're the regional manager. Everybody owns their part of that book, right? If you're an agent building a book, you own that's an asset. That's no longer just you're not a worker for the company. You're growing your business. And I can't remember which one of the ladies said it, but you're not, your allegiance is to the client because you're growing your book of business with clients, not growing your book of business with a company.
Perfect. That's great. Someone wants to know about the building of their teams. If people leave, do they lose everything? Jeff?
Another great question. Leaders and managers within our organization at ASB, we continue to receive the management compensation on agents. Maybe you have a few agents, they came in, maybe they were just doing okay. And maybe sometimes this is just not for everyone, right? So let's say they leave the industry. At a captive organization or at my captive organization, there was no such thing as like management renewals, meaning policies in the second, third, fourth, fifth year. If you wrote those as an individual, you continue to receive those as long as you worked there and unless you left and were vested. But as a manager here at ASB, as long as that policy stays in force, you still earn your management compensation. And that's just some of the things whenever it regards and the people leaving, those were things that I had no idea about until I finally just opened my eyes and said, let's have the conversation. Because that's what it all starts with, is having a conversation.
Can you imagine, Jeff, if you add that up? I'm sorry, I just have to. If you added up everybody that you have trained over 21 years and those dollars walked out and you still had them?
The dollars didn't walk out. They just didn't come to me. So
someone wants to know, if currently captive, what is the biggest mind shift they're going to have to make to come work for you? And Jeff, I'm going to put that one to you because you talked about that a lot.
these are really good questions. I would say, I'm going to answer that by saying, if you're captive, I think there's 3 major items that are going to require a shift, especially depending on how long you've been doing it. One, we've mentioned all these carriers. You come over and you're like a kid in a candy shop and you want to get appointed with everybody. And one of the ladies mentioned it. It's important to find those preferred carriers because each state is a little bit different depending on what type of product line. So I think we've done a lot of the research on the back end. So if we bring somebody new in, that's one of the first things I do is say, hey, look, let's start with these carriers. Here's why we use those, because we tend to look for carriers that, one, have great products. We want them to be competitively priced for the clients. I take a look at the type of service. I've actually reached out to other managers and just said, hey, we're thinking about using this company. Do you use them? And if so, how's the customer service? And then I want them to at least pay a competitive comp to the agent. I don't want the agent to do it for free. So we take a look at that. I'd say that's the first thing. Second is really realizing that when you were in your captive space, you were really selling your product because you're limited. You didn't really know that at the time, but you've got limitations. And here at ASB, we're not really selling products. We're more advocating for our clients. we're sitting down and trying to find the best fit from the carriers that we have versus constantly trying to shove that round hole in the square peg because that's the only thing we have. And then last, I would say you're, and this was probably the biggest thing for me, you're used to everything being in one area, right? Like your captive company has everything just right here. And now it's a little overwhelming the first week or so, but once you realize that accessing the information that we need can come in more than one area, you start to realize that what I thought was going to be something I was going to struggle with is actually something that helps me be more proficient. So I would say those are the three biggest mind shifts that an individual would have to make if they were captive.
Perfect. We have time for one more question. I'm going to go with, if an agent says, I'm just doing okay, but I feel like I'm capped where I am, what do you say to them? Beth, what would you tell them?
So that's again where like your mindset has to change. If you want to grow, your thinking has to evolve. And I was stuck there, so I could understand that. About 4 years into my career with ASB, I felt I'm still making a very nice living, but how much more can I grow? So I decided that it was time to build a team and to diversify myself and do other products. So if you have the mindset that you are going to learn and figure out the next step to go to the next level, you'll make it happen. And there is a tremendous shift in the last 3 years of my salary and of the products that are in my portfolio, just because I had the vision to say I need a change. And that's another part of ASB that is so fantastic, because you have a regional manager, you have the owners of the company. You literally can reach out to an owner of ASB through a text, and they will answer you back as if like you're their family, which whoever would think at any kind of company I've ever worked at before, that was a no-go. You wouldn't even have their number, let alone being able to reach out to them. So I love that, and it's true from my heart. It's just, there's no ceiling to where you can go here.
That's very exciting. That is all the time we have for questions today. If we didn't get to yours, please be sure to reach out to Lynn. She'd be happy to answer any further questions and again, put you in touch with whoever she needs to put you in touch with. I do want to thank everyone that attended today. Just a reminder, you're going to receive an email later with the recording of the presentation. Please feel free to share that with friends, family, or colleagues that might be interested in learning more. And be sure to contact Lynn with other questions, or if you're ready to get started with an exciting career with American Senior Benefits.